Ah, what a lovely evening, and whoa! Should I leave you two alone?
Sam Raimi is really a master of what he does. He does horror comedies, and he manages to completely pull them off. Part of the reason why they work so well is that even while you're laughing, there's this sense in your gut and in your stomach where you're going, oh, this is really disgusting, or oh, that's quite disturbing, while you're laughing at it. And that's the reason why Drag Me to Hell, I think, works so well. It isn't really a horror film, it's a hybrid of the two. It's a hybrid between horror and comedy, with a dash of drama on the side for the sake of narrative purposes. But this is really, to go into this expecting to get scared shitless, I think is entirely beyond the purpose of this film. I think this works in a lot of the same ways that Disney's attraction The Haunted Mansion does at Disneyland. And this sounds like a really corny comparison, but hear me out here. At the Haunted Mansion at Disney, when you were a kid going on it, there was always this slight sense of terror. Like there's a little bit of an unevenness because you're sort of going through the entire thing going, oh, this is sort of creepy because this guy is kind of taunting me, this disembodied voice telling me that he's going to kill me, but yet everything is kind of whimsical and funny and light and Disney-esque. That it was fun, but it was always a little bit unnerving. And that's the same feeling you get while watching Drag Me to Hell. The entire thing is, amongst all this goofiness, all of the slapstick crap, all of like these crazy horror moments, there is this general sense of uneasiness. Even as you are laughing, you're kind of terrified for these characters and for the plight that they're going through. Basically, this girl has been possessed by a demon, and it's a particularly nasty demon that even regardless of what she does, it's not going to leave her alone. And so she tries all these different methods to get rid of it, but no matter what, it's going to end up dragging her down to hell. So she's kind of in a pickle and she's panicking. She's going through all these crazy methods, which, you know, no sane person would possibly ever do. And that's where the charm of this entire story lies. This really reminds me of Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. In a way, it's in that same category, except Sam Raimi certainly throws in some chillers here and there. I mean, some stuff pops out at you, and it really is startling. But then, at the same time, there's never really this nightmare quotient, which is what I give to the most efficient of horror movies, like The Exorcist. You're not going to be having nightmares about Drag Me to Hell, but rather, I think you're going to be talking about to your friends about it, if they even like the movie, or if they like this sort of genre. You'll be talking to your friends saying, what about that scene where like she was in bed and then suddenly the scary woman jumped out at her? Didn't that get you? Didn't that like startle you there for a minute? But then on the other end, you'll be talking about the scenes that were just absolutely hysterical, like the nosebleed scene, which is only in the unrated cut, which honestly it doesn't look all that convincing, but it made me laugh, as well as most of the other gore effects in this movie, which there isn't a whole ton, but there's certainly a lot of little yuck moments, like little bits of throw up, and you know, it's Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi can't help but get his little fingers and all that disgusting little stuff, because that's who he is. He is basically an overgrown kid, is what you get the sense with these movies. He's doing them on a professional level, but these are the types of stories that kids would have liked to have told, like over Halloween campfires. It's like, you look at the Evil Dead movies, and it's about a guy who like loses his arm, puts a chainsaw on it, and fights the undead. It's ridiculous, and it's absurd, but it is so much fun. And the same goes for this, and this is far more, I'm not going to say family friendly, because it's PG-13, and I think it's absolutely perfect at that rating. I don't usually agree with film ratings. I usually think they're absolutely ridiculous at times, but PG-13 is pretty much right at the money. I think if you're around that age, you're going to understand what makes this humorous, because it definitely is morbid, dark humor that not everyone is going to get. And this film was so lashed when it first came out, and it's such a disappointment too, because it was loved by critics, it was loved by a lot of the genre fans who knew what they were getting into, but a lot of horror movie teenagers who were like, you know, born on this sort of stuff to go see it with their date and like make out with them when they got really startled, were disappointed because they walked out and they said this was advertised as a horror film, which it was. If you look at the trailers, it's nothing like the actual movie. And what we ended up seeing was a comedy, which is completely the point. If you knew who the director was, Sam Raimi, you would probably get a sense that this is his style. This is the way he handles horror. And he's probably one of the most effective directors of horror films in this particular generation, because he knows that not to take himself too seriously. And that's what makes for effective jump scares and effective scare scenes, because there's the sympathy level. And this sounds kind of weird, but if you have sympathy for the character and you're able to laugh at the sort of situations that they're in and at the absurdity of it, when it really does get to the nitty-gritty and it gets down to like the nail-biting moments, you feel it more. Or at least I certainly did in Drag Me to Hell, when this character, she'll go from one hilarious situation to a terrifyingly hilarious situation to a situation that's just terrifying and then back to hilarious again. This might feel a little bit bipolar for some viewers, but it's the tone of this film. It's very whimsical in how frightening it is. And I guess that's all I have to say about that, because really to go into too many details about Drag Me to Hell, I think would be ruining the surprise of the film. It just, so everybody knows, it's well acted. It was well written, especially the corny lines that are supposed to be intentionally corny, which come across as hilarious, like, come get some, and I beat you, you damn bitch. That kind of stuff is just funny. It really is. I think Sam Raimi is one of those directors. You just gotta give him a big hug, because he's having so much damn fun. I think it's hard not to have fun along with him. So, this is MPig, and I am signing out. Watch me drag me... Wow. I can't talk sometimes. I think my mouth doesn't want me to communicate my own thoughts. But watch Drag Me to Hell this Halloween with a bunch of people who just want to have fun watching a fun movie, and I think you'll have a good time. Go in expecting to be scared, and maybe not so much, but there are a few startles for those of you who want to get your goosebumps going. Alrighty, love you all, and I wish you all to go to hell soon, because hell is a fun place.